1, we'll call to order. Motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Stickle, no additions, discussions?
No.
Okay, good. All in favor? Carried. So delegations, I guess we'll hand it off, Paul and Jen, and we will go through our 818 studio presentation update.
Great, thanks so much. I'd like to share a PowerPoint presentation if that's possible, Lori. As you know, we were doing engagement in the town and with the businesses during the last little bit, and I wanted to present just the panels that people put their comments on, or their votes on, and share some of the comments. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Great. If I go like that, can everybody see it still or no?
Yep.
Okay. Is that better? Is that the better look?
Yeah, it works good.
Okay, great. So this is just the first slide that talks about where we are in the process in the engagement phase and the outcomes of the 3 plans, the implementation and costing plans. You've seen these panels before. This talks about the 3 concepts, and as you can see, there was a lot of support for the 3rd concept, although a number of people also liked the idea of wider sidewalks and gathering areas on the main street and accommodation for scooters and other wheeled vehicles. Then because the 3rd concept had so much support, we wanted to find out a little bit more detail what exactly people liked about this area, so or this element. So the gathering areas, street trees, low rolled curbs, those were the 3 big things that people really appreciated about this particular concept. Not so much support for the mid-block crossing, which I sort of predicted, but thought I'd throw that in there just in case, because there is already that crossing in front of the Legion. So for the Main Street look and feel, Collection A seemed to have the most support, and so this is the one that we will be costing for the plans. There was a little less, I guess, direction here for seating. It was quite split amongst a number of the different options. I guess the concern with the movable seating is that the wind could blow it away. So that's probably not going to be something that we recommend. For the planting palette, people really liked the flowers. There was a lot of support for communities in bloom. People enjoyed or appreciated having the recycling in conjunction with the trash. People wanted to see bike racks and like a similar style for most of the benches. For the community streetscape look and feel, people liked the idea of pedestrian lighting and maintaining the low profile rolled curbs and doing something with the boulevards. For the gateway, I thought that there might be more, I guess, indication that people approach the community from other ways, but people thought that no, which is where Palliser Trail meets Highway 9, is the main gateway, and a few people thought that maybe where Main Street meets Palliser Trail could be the gateway. And not a lot of people were keen on the actual gateway idea at the entrance to town. For signage and wayfinding, most people like the wooden signs, wood and metal, and then the directional signs with the, I'm not sure if it was the flowers that they wanted or the rectangular sign. And then the freestanding point of interest signs. And then that is it. And I will stop sharing. And then Paul was talking to businesses.
Good morning, everyone. We to date have talked to about 12 of the 38 businesses that we have from the list that Tammy had given us. Unfortunately, we've only had 6 surveys returned. As a result, we are going to move forward to an August 10th Chamber of Commerce meeting, where hopefully we'll get a little bit more feedback on whatever stage or phase of the process that we are in at this point. It's difficult to get an indication on their degree of commitment and participation in the project. Right now, there is one business that has provided a completed DIP application to me, and another business that's in the process of doing that. So at this stage of the process, it does appear that from the business perspectives in the revitalization zone, that there will be limited participation in the development of their storefronts relative to the revitalization that the town is going through at this point. So that's really all I can tell you right now, folks.
So is that, you think it's limited? Are they assuming it's all at their cost entirely, or I guess there's too much unknown
No,
right now.
I think the information that we gave made it pretty clear that this was a town initiative to revitalization and an invitation, so to speak, for the businesses to participate at this point. I sense a degree of consternation, how's that, amongst the businesses in terms of the degree of engagement that and consultation that has gone on over the course of the years. I think it's evident that the business sector has been engaged in just about every initiative that's gone on since, let's say, the impact study in 2016. So, you know, in my words, they're maybe a little bit burnt out. And it was not unusual for me to get a comment such as, you know, get it done, just get it done. It was difficult to impart to the half dozen or so I spoke to that they are going to be impacted in a significant manner. But I think it's that bit from Missouri where we're going to have to show them at this point. So overall, disappointing response, to be frank, with council to the survey and to my repeated attempts to contact them via email and telephone at this point. I wish I could bring greater and better news to you at this point, but that's the reality this morning.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's fair. We've all been engaged through all this, and people just want to see something moving forward. Yeah. Any other questions for Paul and Jen? Councillor Bowden.
It looks great. Thank you very much for all the work you guys have been doing. I had the opportunity to, I had to go to Stettler the other day, and they have a similar setup with the bump outs and that sort of thing. There is more parking, and the bump outs are not as large as indicated on the plan that it has been proposed. I'm just wondering if you guys have had a look at Stettler as well. It seems almost exactly what I assume we're looking at, only like I said, with less parking space taken up with the bump outs, but it seems, you know, sufficient enough that it would still allow for the most parking as well as the bump outs to for safety and to support your vision as well.
No, Stettler is on my list of places to visit in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's got I think it's got the new lighting and that sort of thing, but especially the bump outs. It was nice to be able to actually visualize it and see, you know, just really how much it is taken out. So for bump outs. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Olson. Just a couple of, I don't know if there are questions or comments, but I guess when I look at the choices that you've narrowed it down to, maybe it's part of me being cost efficient or effective, but I guess when I look at it, part of me always judges where we want to go and what we want to do by the ultimate end cost. So I don't know if with some of the seating structures or some of the planting structures or whatever, if there were a couple of options that were relatively close in terms of engagement to date, whether it's possible to get some ballpark costs on the others, just so we know if they're close. And this one's a slightly higher percentage of people liked it, but it's twice the cost. That sometimes will factor into at least my decision. Maybe not necessarily council may not feel that way, but at least my decision, that always is a driving factor. So I just wondered, A, if that was an option as we move forward through the process.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm still waiting on some of the costs, so I'm not sure yet. But if I totally agree. This needs to be operationally and maintenance. If something needs to be replaced, it needs to be within the means at that point.
The other comment in regards to pedestrian lighting, that doesn't replace street lighting, correct?
No, it doesn't have to.
Okay. I just was curious because I'm not sure if we've communicated this to you before, but our streetlights are owned primarily by ATCO Electric. So any of our conversations around street lighting, we definitely have to work through them. And I know in past discussions with them, they have limited styles of streetlights that they do work with and have in their stock and inventory. So
yeah, the one that particular that we're looking at actually can just attach to the existing streetlight, but at a different level. So it's for the pedestrians.
Okay. And my last question, I guess, is just if you could update council on kind of what the next steps are in the process.
So we understand that there is a grant that is coming up for application. We're not, I guess we're waiting for a little bit more clarity on who's applying for that, but we are pulling together a briefing note that will include costs and what's necessary from us for you to submit a grant application.
Okay, and I'll maybe just, I did have it in my report if you guys had a chance. So WED has announced last week a new fund that one of the criteria or one of the examples they use is revitalizing downtowns. So we do think that the direction we're heading here certainly fits the criteria and fits the mandate of the application. And so we are in a little bit of a scramble mode or hurry up mode a little bit, just from the fact that they announced it on June 23rd and their first intake ends July 23rd. So they only allowed a month to get applications in. As I said to Paul last week, I said, a couple more months, if they would have announced it in September or something, it would have been ideal for us because we would have had the time that we had allocated to move through it and get the information, as good as we could for this application. But my fear is if we don't get it in the first intake, there's probably a very good chance that there won't be a second intake. My understanding in Alberta, there's $150 million that has been allocated to Alberta through this grant program. So, and they have clearly indicated that if all of the applications exceed the 150 million, that they're not going to have any further intakes at this point in time. So we are, and I know working with Mark, trying to push some of the other projects as well, to move forward quickly, with at least maybe not final everything, but with at least enough where we can put our best foot forward in the grant application. So its timing is off a little bit, but the good news is that there appears that there may be dollars available for this type of project. So
Just a thing on logistics. I have not checked this morning, but to date, there's been no additional detailed information on WED's website, no application, no guidelines. So in order for us to prepare an appropriate briefing note, we really need a bit more direction. So Kim or Mark, if you folks can find out if that stuff is available yet, or if they're simply going to accept applications on a proposal basis. That's very unlikely. I've never seen that from the feds before. Typically with a program of this scope. So hopefully within the next day or two, we'll see some guidance from WD on that.
yeah, Paul, I thought there was something on there in terms of, isn't the application on there, Paul?
You know what? I'll have another look. But my last view, which was after, I think it was the 24th, it was online. So it may be there, Kim. I just haven't looked this morning yet.
Okay, I will take a look as well, Paul, and we do have I think a very good relationship with Anna Curtis, who is one of the managers for Western Economic Diversification. We've worked with her through coal transition, and we worked with her. Certainly, she was instrumental in working with us through our proposals for dollars, as well as the Hanna Learning Center's proposals in the Business Hub. And of course, WED is funding all of the project work right now that Cactus is doing. So we do have a good relationship with Anna. She's been out in Hanna several times, and we've talked to her about this project before. So it certainly, I don't think will be a surprise to her.
Great.
But yeah, Mark and I chatted last night. So we are going to have to, like I said before, we're going to have to expedite some of this work and get it moving forward. And as Paul and Jen said, there's going to be some decisions have to be made around who's applying under whose hat, whether it's under Cactus or whether it's under the respective communities, i.e. Village of Youngstown, Town of Hanna. So we've got a few things to work out there as we move forward, but we definitely want to get it in for first intake.
I agree, Kim, that it is unlikely there will be a second call. At 150, it'll be oversubscribed, but I do think Hanna will be a priority community, as Grand Cache, as Wabamun will be as well.
I hope you're correct. I'm optimistic that way, but I guess you never know till you know. But like I said, we have had extensive workings with WED, and I think they certainly understand our community and where we're at, and I think that will be in good favor for us.
Okay, cool. It's good to hear. CEO is usually quite realistic. To see him use words like optimistic is exciting. Any other questions for Paul and Jen? Comments? Let's see. Anything else, Paul, Jen, before we finish? That's good work. It's cool. I hope there's some funding and we can see something move forward.
Yeah, thanks so much for letting us present so far.
Awesome. Thanks for the update. Okay, we'll ask for a motion. The council thanks the representatives from 818 Studio Limited for their update on the Hanna Community Development Project. Councillor Bowden. And all in favor? Carried. Cool. Thanks again, Paul and Jen. I see nothing for public presentation, I assume, Mr. Neal.
Correct.
Hey, I will hand it over to you for your CAO report.
Okay, thanks, Deputy Mayor Olson. I think everyone here is well aware. Tomorrow is a big day for our province after 15, 16 long months. So basically, as of tomorrow, we're back, and I'm going to use the word pre-COVID rules. I think the only impacts that will still remain will be some extra precautions and masking in acute and continuing care settings, as well in the cities with transit. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day in that regard. For us, it means we can return back to our normal operations, primarily with our facilities. We have talked, and my indication to staff here is that we are going to leave up our plexi shields where our plexi shields were established in facilities. We will leave hand sanitizing stations and make them available. We have the equipment that we bought. We'll leave it out there. If people choose to use it as we move forward, they choose to use it. Again, at the pool, we'll no longer require contract tracing. We will remove any signs that say masks are mandatory or any of those types of things. But staff is confident and comfortable with leaving the plexi shields in place, as well as the hand sanitizing stations. Centennial Place, even though it will be fully operational, we are operating right now Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. As of next week, we are going to extend that to 9 to 8, Monday to Friday. No weekends at this point in time, unless someone books in advance, books a private birthday party on a Saturday or something, we will accommodate that, but we're not going to be open otherwise. And generally in the summer, it's quietest time. So I don't anticipate we'll have any objections in that regard. Community Center, Lions Hall, any of those can return to normal capacity functions. I think it'll be a little slow. This is my personal opinion. It'll be a little slow moving forward before people are going to be comfortable and wanting to engage in a large 200, 300 person event. I think there's probably still a little bit of leeriness amongst residents too, based on where we've been going with restrictions being lifted and put back on and lifted and put back on, that they don't necessarily want to go to the time and effort to plan a 300 seat function and then things change on their out of their control. So, but I think if we retain the way we're going and things continue the way we're going, I'm optimistic that we'll be going in the right direction. So I'm happy. Tomorrow will be a good day, and we'll move forward from there. GFL update, just to further to this, was in conversation with Brad Wall last night, who is their operations manager, and he indicated to me that they will be moving some equipment on site today or Friday. So in terms of preparing their development, but their expectation will be next week. They will be starting to get the site prepared for their use. And I think they're estimating that it's probably an 8 to 10 week process to prepare the site so they can move forward with it. So that's good news. That'll start. You'll see some work there next week, is what they've indicated to me. Tax recovery property update, just primarily on the buildings that we are looking at for demolition. So we have got the hazard abatement report back on 4 buildings. Waiting for, I did talk to Mark last night. We ran into each other on the way home and had a long chat. So he's going to forward me he just got some of the estimated hazard abatement removal costs provided to him. So he's going to forward that on to me. And then I think the next step, a little bit different than what's in the report, is Mark is going to work with us and prepare RFPs to go out to the different contractors on the hazard abatement removal. As I said before, the Central Meat Building, the fire chief has provided a letter indicating that based on the failure of one of the support beams, he's indicated it's not safe to go in. We are going to be in discussions with OH&S how that impacts it. There is a provision that you won't be responsible for going in and removing all of the hazardous material before demolition if it's unsafe to do so. But there also is additional requirements when you demolish the building if the hazardous material has not been removed. So we're working through that, but you have to get an exemption from OH&S to move forward in that direction. So, and the big question before we move forward and actually spend any more money in terms of removing the abatement or taking the demolition process any further is we need to bring back a funding plan to council in regards to what it's going to cost and where we think the town should be. With that, Mark has indicated he believes that he may be able to reallocate some of his Western economic diversification money to demolition, but he hasn't got final approval on that, and he's not sure how much they will allow to do that. At the end of the day, I'm trying to be realistic with council, but if we want to move forward with demolition of these properties or some of these properties, it's going to be a significant cost to the town that we will have to, council will ultimately have to give direction and approval for before we move forward. So we're going to have to bring that plan back, but we need some more details yet. But it's going to be a little bit like council struggled with the national in the day and the $225,000 cost to take it down. We're going to be looking at, probably more than that based on the fact that we've got Central Meat, the other property, the Seymour specifically, the owner has indicated his intention is to let it fall into the town's hands. So it's not going anywhere. So I think with those two buildings right there, there's a significant number. So, but we don't have those details. I just want to give you a heads up, so you're not shocked or it comes out of the left field, but it'll probably be a significant number that council will have to grapple with moving forward on that. So I'm hoping that we will get those numbers and get that process through this summer so that we can get moving on with them, because we need to deal with them and we need to get them cleaned up and moved on. So we talked a little bit about the Western Economic Diversification Grant funding. So certainly it seems to be right up our alley. It's just a matter of getting our good information together and moving that forward to them. And if we can get $750,000 to help revitalize Main Street, that will go a long way. I haven't had a lot of conversations with people about the downtown project, but the two of the individuals that I've chatted with, their obvious concern was cost. Who's going to pay for it? We don't have the money. I don't think it's a priority that the town should be, I think they were working under the premise at this point that the town would be responsible for the full cost of the revitalization. And they were concerned about that cost and the implications to the town. when I told them that there may be some federal dollars available, I think that helped calm their anxiety in regards to moving the project forward. And so we'll see how that goes. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we can receive as much money through that process as we can. Second Avenue, Second Street crosswalk. So last council meeting, Councillor Stickle asked if we could have a chance to have a conversation about it, how it's operating, how it's working. Main concern being people who are heading west, who are stopping at that structure, even though it's not a stop sign. You may have noticed we did have it painted, the base painted white to differentiate it from the four-way stops to the east, which have a yellow base. This is certainly not scientific by any means, but I believe it has had a positive impact. And we are getting less vehicles stopping there. Certainly we haven't eliminated it, but I just wanted to see if council had any other comments or any other thoughts on this issue, or if they're content, I guess, to leave it with the white base right now and see how it goes for the next period of time, and see if we have any other issues that come up before we discuss it again. So that's the only thing I kind of wanted some feedback on, Deputy Mayor Olson. So if there's anybody who has some feedback, I'd certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, do we want to we'll go around the circle and everybody can have a turn to speak. So Councillor Stickle, you're on my top corner if you want to go first.
Well, am I still muted or am I?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. I talked to Kim about it. That was a couple of weeks ago. I stopped right after it was painted white. I sat there for a length of time and I noticed only one vehicle out of the whole bunch that went through that even slowed down or come to a stop. So I think maybe painting it white has kind of slowed the process down anyway. I think probably just leave it the way it is, and we'll wait till winter time when we have the white streets and see what happens with the white pole. But we'll leave that up to Brent and his crew when they're cleaning snow. But maybe we just need a couple black stripes or something on it for the winter. I don't know, but it seems to have made quite a difference painting it white. So that's my comment.
Okay, Councillor Bowden.
Yes, I noticed that it was painted white as well, and I don't think that it has made. I think it's made a difference and stuff. I'd like not to invest any more money into it and just leave it alone and see what happens as well. Thank you.
Good. Councillor Jensen.
I'm sorry, I missed any discussion that was had about this at the last council meeting, but I know I've never received any positive feedback about that crosswalk being there. So I don't know, I guess if it's slowed down with the white, certainly leave it. And as Councillor Stickle mentions, see what happens come winter. I'm thinking with the revitalization of Main Street and the widening of sidewalks, it's likely going to go anyways at some point when all that work is being done. And I really liked the idea of moving it over to the crosswalk at the school, as Councillor Stickle had indicated at the last meeting, because I watched it afterward. And yeah, that's just my thoughts. I think you can always leave it until she's got to go.
Thank you. Myself, my opinion hasn't changed. I want nothing there. No signage at all. We can have a white crosswalk. But if painting it white has reduced it, I think the best option is to leave it. There's no shame in saying we're wrong if it does end up having to be removed. But yeah, if that's made an improvement, I guess we'll just leave it be. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think as Councillor Jensen said, if and when we're able to move forward with the downtown revitalization, especially when you look at the strong probability that there will be bump outs at the intersections certainly reduces the street that has to be crossed and makes it safer for pedestrians. So at that point in time, I do think that that crosswalk will be able to be moved to a future or different location at that time. So we'll see how it goes. We'll keep our fingers crossed that it becomes more standard, that people realize when they're approaching it that it isn't a stop sign, and it becomes more second nature as we move forward and we have less people stopping at it every day. So thanks. That was kind of what I just wanted some feedback from council on at this point. And I guess if there's any other questions, I'll be prepared to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Neal? The only thing I have, if you do an RFP for demolition of those buildings, are you committed to choosing one, or can you choose none?
We can, with an RFP, Deputy Mayor Olson, we don't have to choose any. So we send it out, and in our literature, we will say, there's no guarantee that we will accept any proposal. So if they come back and the costs are certainly prohibitive for council to want to move forward on, certainly we don't have to choose any RFP. We can thank them for their time, and if we want to RFP it at a different date, we can always then return to an RFP, and maybe at a different time, different place, costs may be different. So, but yeah, there's no guarantee or expectation that we have to accept a proposal.
Okay, all right. I've seen municipalities get their hands slapped with, I have to call it, overstimulating the market or something like that.
The only thing that not accepting, the big downfall to not accepting a proposal at that time is if you put out a proposal on a project, and at the end of the day, the contractor has gone through the work to provide the proposal, provide the quote, and the municipality says, "Oh, we're not going to do it." And if you return to the well down the road, they may say, we went through this work last time and they didn't respond. So I'm not going to go through that work again. Although on hindsight, pretty much they've done the work the first time. So it's just a matter of tweaking whatever they would be submitting a second time. So, but yeah, no, there's no guarantee, and you don't know in what's going to come back. You hope for a good price, but depending on what the market is, depending on what's going on out there, it may be cost prohibitive. So,
all right, fair enough. Councillor Bowden.
Yes, I was just wondering if you have a target date for the start of demolition. If all the information comes back in a time.
I think if Councillor Bowden, if everything went according to plan, I would hope that we would be able to look at it at a September, October demolition. Especially when I say that with the central meat building. Specifically, if we don't have to do hazard abatement removal, that takes significant amount of time. We can probably start on the demolition there sooner than later. If any other buildings that council may want us to move forward with, and they require hazard abatement, I could see us starting that process on those buildings in September, October, but the hazard abatement portion may take a month or two, and that has to be done prior to demolition. So hopefully the target would be that this fall we would be able to move forward. So.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So no other questions. Future council meeting location. Do you have the motion first and then discussion?
Sure, Deputy Mayor.
All right, so ask for motion that as the province of Alberta COVID-19 restrictions regarding in-person meetings have been removed effective July 1st, 2021, Town of Hanna Council meetings will be held in the council chambers at the town office at 302 2nd Avenue West effective July 13th, 2021. Anybody want to make that? Councillor Stickle.
So Deputy Mayor Olson, just, as I mentioned before, restrictions are dropped. We are able to hold these meetings. Administration is recommending we go back to council chambers. I know that that area is a little bit more confined and will put council in a closer proximity with one another. And I just wanted to make sure everyone on council would be comfortable with that. I have talked to both the mayor and Councillor Deadlock, and they both have indicated they're comfortable being in the community center. But they did respect others' positions if they didn't want to be in close proximity, that we could choose another in-person location. The only comment there is the mayor has indicated if council wished to go that direction, he didn't want it to be in the community center, just from the fact that the acoustics aren't good. He would suggest the fire hall or another option if council thought council chambers were too close. So I just wanted to get feedback from council. I wanted them to be comfortable in that setting. And if they are, we're prepared to move forward. As it says in the agenda item, we will continue to live stream them. The live streaming works really well for virtual meetings. Everyone's on the screen. It's easy. We haven't done a live stream out of our council chambers yet. So we'll be figuring out how that works and probably using the owls and moving forward. But I think there's an expectation from our residents now that we continue to use that platform, because they either can watch it live or they have the ability to go back and watch a recording of it. And I think that that's something our residents are enjoying.
Yeah, I agree. There's certainly more engagement now when people can actually sit and watch. So does anybody have concerns with meeting back in council chambers? I see no issues. All right, well, I guess motion's on the floor. Yeah, all in favor? Cool, carried. Well, that one was easy. The Poppy project update.
Do you
yeah,
want to put the motion on the floor,
Sure.
Councillor Olson, or Deputy Mayor Olson?
Sure. Yeah, as for motion, the council accepts the report on the Poppy project proposed by the Hanna Legion Park for information. Anyway, Councillor Jensen.
So I just wanted to take this opportunity to bring council up to date on this project. It's had a long history and a kind of an informal history. So back in around November 2018, I'm not sure if anybody saw it, but a local resident, Cheryl Stevenson, saw a poppy sculpture somewhere in Canada and wanted to put it on Facebook just to say, hey, this would be cool in Hanna. What do people think? What are their ideas? And generally the feedback from most people was it was well received. Yeah, it'd be good, it'd be cool, that would look great. If you need any money, let me know. So Cheryl took the project on as a local interested resident. Contacted Sean Olmsted from Metalworks, and he said he was interested in designing and constructing a similar type of structure. Since that time, again, we're looking at almost 3 years. COVID slowed things down, but at the end of the day, Cheryl started receiving some donations. The Chamber of Commerce, I think at their boss's party, put their profits towards this project, and funds were coming in. Cheryl and Sean, originally the sculpture plan was to put it in Legion Park, for a lack of a better word, but the green space next to the Legion. And we were going to move forward. The town, through our administration, committed to, yeah, we'll do some landscaping around it when it's done. If there's some brickwork that needs to be done, we can do that. But not, it wasn't going to be a large, significant piece of the pie. Since that time, the project has grown considerably. Cheryl had received just over $14,000 in donations for the project. It was turned over to the Legion. So the Legion had the funds. In the spring of this year, Sean presented his design to a group of people, a small informal group with a couple representatives from our administration, from the Legion, Cheryl, and they said, okay, let's go forward. The Legion was very excited about the sculpture and how it was going to look. But it was a significantly larger in size. So the thought was it's not going to fit on the existing Legion Park very well without some extensive work. So they approached the special areas board to see if it could go on their green space adjacent to their building. After discussion with special areas, they've indicated they didn't want it on that property. It was free and clear property, and having that structure there, they just weren't comfortable with it, but they were supportive of the project. And they agreed to provide, the materials in the report. So some sonotubes, a bobcat, an operator, a welder for rebar and the piles, a picker truck. And as you may see in the sculpture, it has LED lighting on it. So they agreed to put the wiring in, tied into their building, picked up some of those costs of the project. So not knowing it can't go on the special areas green space, the group went back to Legion Park area to see how it would fit there. So what the consensus of the group was that for it to fit on that site, we would have to remove the existing fence, and we would have to push that fence back or take about another 15 to 20 feet to the north of that property, and it would fit back there. So it would be in behind the flagpole and the picnic table there, the table that's there. And everyone was on board with that. Legion has the biggest impact because they technically lease that space from the town that is north of the fence. So their only concern was that they had to keep their handicapped access available, so it couldn't go any further north than there. And so as we move forward there, then the Legion did make a decision that they did not want to handle the money anymore. So they approached the town and said, would you handle the finances for this project on our behalf or on the project's behalf? And we said, yes, we'll take the money. We checked with our auditor, not an issue for us to do that. So out of the $14,000 that they originally received, they had made a deposit to Sean Olmsted in the amount of $7,500. And we recently paid Sean $3,100 for rebar and a bunch of work that will have to go in for the preparation of the base. So we currently have about $3,500 sitting in the account here as we move forward. When I talked to Sean the other day, had a little bit of a surprise, and Sean indicated that the sculpture that he had commissioned and had been signed off by the Legion and Cheryl was like 15 grand. So slightly more than the money they had to begin with. And of course, then we had the expense of $3,100 for the work that had to go into the base. So I just wanted to, and the reason the Legion didn't want the dollars is they were concerned, I guess, that when people were donating to the Poppy Project or businesses were donating to the Poppy Project, they were going to be seen as donations to the Legion, and thus might affect their ability to receive donations for their operation of their building and the programs and services they offered. So that was their rationale for wanting to turn it over. As we move forward, like I said, I just wanted to update council on the status because it has grown considerably, and there's been more expectations than placed on the town as we move forward. So we plan to, as council's aware, there's no decisions made today. We do plan to bring this topic back to our July 13th meeting for decision, but we will need decision from council to have it located on the town property. We will need direction to move forward with some of the costs that we originally agreed to in a smaller frame that have grown, such as removal of the existing chain link fence, concrete for the piles, concrete for the foundation. And I think the other one that has grown on us based on the size of the sculpture is the landscaping. So before we didn't have to do a lot of landscaping because it was already on a green grassed area. Now, when we remove the fence, we will have to landscape that 15 to 20 feet that is, 60 feet wide. So there'll need to be, topsoil, which we have in stock. We'll need to, whether we lay sod or try and grow grass, put some irrigation in, some little bit of brickwork leading up to it. And the thought with the group was, rather than replace the fence, we would replace it with some trees as a border on the north side versus the fence. So there is some costs there. We're estimating those costs to be about $4,500. Our initial thought is, and our initial plan is that we hope that we can try to strive to do it within our existing operational dollars through our various categories. But the other thing, just so you know, the project, you saw the picture of it. So there is a large cross, which is about 10 feet tall. There is a poppy that is approximately 4 feet by 4 feet that will be in the middle of the cross, and little poppies up and down the cross, both arms of the cross. The base will be 20 feet wide. There will be 4 panels, these 2 panels on either side of the cross, that the original intention was to be able to recognize veterans who served on those panels. I have had a discussion the other day with the Legion members, and I'm putting that what's going to happen on the panels as phase 2, because I'm uncomfortable from the town's perspective managing the names that would go on the panels and how they would go on the panels, because we have no expertise in who should be there, who shouldn't be there, what policies and directions should be aside. So I met with the Legion the other day, and they've agreed to have a further discussion as to how we might deal with the panels and whose names go on and at what cost and that type of thing. There will be pre-drilled holes for plaques that can be attached and go on. And so it's a kind of a second phase. The first phase would to get the sculpture up, get the panels up, get everything up, and then how the names go on the panels would be a discussion. I'm hoping that the Legion will take that process on, whether they use that as a fundraiser and charge some more dollars than what it's going to cost for the plaques to be etched and put on, and then people would pay for it. I know there's some hesitancy there just in regards to some of the members whose names should be up on that panel may not have family here, may not have the ability to provide funds, if that's the case, to have them put up there. And it's a little bit unfortunate that, somebody who doesn't have family here or doesn't have the financial resources to have them recognized even though they served the same role in the war as someone else who has family here who will willingly pay for that plaque to be put up. So it's got some red flags, council. I want to be upfront and you know, provide you that reality. So I do want to see it happen. The Legion does want to see it happen. But you know, it may end up at the end of the day. I know Cheryl has applied to CNRL for some additional funding, which hopefully she is successful, and that will go towards the project. They reached out to her, and they have a community relations fund, and she's provided them with some additional information and some costing. So she's waiting to hear back from CNRL if they can contribute and how much. So hopefully by the July 13th meeting, we may have some indication on that and you know, the financial piece anyway. So I don't know if there's anything other than that. I know it's throwing a lot at you on the spot, but that's why I wanted to kind of provide you with a bit of an update as to where the project is at this point in time. I believe Mr. Olmsted has ordered the materials and stuff for it. He is anticipating that it will be able to be constructed and installed September of 2021. So I guess if anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, but it is a, you know, a fluid project.
Councillor Bowden.
You mentioned a picture of it. Was that supposed to be in the package? Or?
Yeah, the picture was in your package. It's an all black page. It would be just after the verbiage on this project.
Oh, I must have missed it. I didn't.
Yeah, it's just the drawing of it
Yeah.
that he has for his machine. It's not a.
I called it a picture. It's maybe more of a drawing, but it's all black with green outlined lines on it.
Sorry, I missed that. I'll have to check it again. So the $4,500, is that over and above the about $3,500 left of the funds that have been raised, or is that in addition to? So
just so we're clear, right now, if there's no other dollars that come forward, the project is about $4,000 short.
Okay.
And then the 4,500 would be on top of that for the landscaping, the trees, those types of things. And that's on the provision that no other funds come in. If there's additional funds come in, they will go towards that amount. So,
are there more fundraising coming?
I don't know if there's any more
application and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any more right now, Councillor Bowden, but I think we'll wait and see where the project, where Cheryl is with CNRL, and then from there, I think that there could be some further fundraising initiatives that could be put forward. So,
thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Nothing. All right. It's huge and I love it. It's going to be massive there. It'll look really nice. If we can find a way to get it all done. I guess motion's on the floor to accept for information. All in favor? Carried. Hey, next one. Oh, July 28th cancellation for info session.
So there's no motion required at this time. I just wanted to see where council was at, whether they are going to be around, whether they have vacation. Typically, it's worked out in the past that the July meeting has been canceled. But at this point in time, it's too far in the process to know whether we have anything that is important that will need to go to an info session. But possibly by July 13th, we will. And if there is some things that are coming forward that will need to be at the info session, you know, we necessarily won't bring this motion back. But if there's nothing pressing by then, we probably administratively will be bringing forward a motion to cancel that meeting if there's no other concerns that council may have.
I thought we always canceled that one at the organizational meeting. automatically? Not this.
No, we haven't.
Oh,
Just
okay.
in case of whether, where we're at and what we may need it for. So the other option too is if that doesn't, if we need to have one and that date wouldn't work for people, we could look at an alternate date as well. I just don't know what everybody's holiday plans are and whether they're going to be around or not. So,
And I suppose worst case is August 10th, we all hang out longer together.
yeah. So I just wanted to bring that forward, that we are considering bringing that forward to you at the July 13th meeting so that it's not a necessarily a surprise. So, but we'll know more at that meeting, whether there looks like there'll be a need for it or not.
Cool. So the next one, staff council barbecue, asks for a motion that council accepts the report from the chief administrative officer regarding plans for a barbecue for town of Hanna staff and council. Anybody want to make that? Councillor Jensen, thank you.
So Deputy Mayor Olson, just typically we have always had money in the budget to have two kind of council staff functions, one being a barbecue in the summer, a little less formal, less low key, and then of course Christmas function. Last year, of course, with COVID, we had neither function. This year with restrictions lifting, I guess we would like to proceed with the summer barbecue. We'll probably look at not having it in the summer. Typically, we would have it in June, but I know when we get into July and August, people, both staff and council, will be taking vacations, so hard to get a time. So we would look forward to moving it into hopefully early September and have that barbecue early September. As I said, it looks like it might be our last opportunity with this council and this term and staff to get together and have an informal get together and get to know each other. And it's a bit of a just, whether it's togetherness, whether it's bonding, whether it's teamwork, it's nice to, be able to sit down with council. So typically, last time I think we did it, we've kind of lowered our costs for the barbecue, and we've gone with definitely with low key, just basically having some hamburgers, bringing in some salads. And I think the last few times when we've operated the VIC, we've just brought in some ice cream from the VIC for dessert. So trying to keep the costs, reasonable, but still basically get people have a chance to get together and move forward. We normally will use that time to recognize any staff who have achieved a long service award, whether it be 5 years or up. We haven't got anyone who this year hits any of those milestones. We won't have those presentations, but I think I know, speaking with the mayor, it's just he's looking forward to it as an opportunity to basically thank staff for their work, thank council for their term. As the mayor has indicated, he's not planning on running for election in the fall. So I think it just gives him an opportunity to hopefully have everybody in one place at one time and be able to express his appreciation. So I just wanted to bring that to you. If there's any strong opposition to having this function, certainly administration will follow council's direction. We are anticipating generally that this barbecue will be held for, it could be upwards of 50 people if everyone, staff, council, and spouses attend. So we look at it being, a top end of $1,000. So.
Okay, awesome. Any objections to it? I think would be the shorter conversation. No. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it'd be exciting to see a taste of normal. Okay, I guess motion's on the floor, accepts the report. All in favor? Carried.
The other thing, Deputy Mayor Olson, just popped into my head before I forget. We are still anticipating in September having a mayor's garden party. We haven't been able to have one in either 2020 or 2021 with COVID. Generally, we have it on Seniors Week, kind of the first week in June. I know the mayor is really looking forward to it and has talked to us saying we got to have something before our term is done. So we're working with the mayor and looking to have a similar type function in September as well. So, I know Chris appreciates being able to spend time with the seniors in our community and thank them for their contribution. And again, I think he's a little sentimental with him on the way out that he wants to make sure we can try and get one in. So another function in September, provided COVID restrictions stay the way they are and we can have those. We haven't got a date or anything at this point in time, but we will be working towards that as we move closer to September. And in case I forget, just wanted to remind everyone about Canada Day activities. So tonight, for those of you who want to see the fireworks, they will be at 11:15 at Fox Lake. There will be some kids' bike parades and some stuff for the campers this evening out at Fox Lake. And then basically the activities start on Sunday. Certainly flag raising at 12:30, barbecue at 1. Firemen are going to cook barbecue hamburgers and stuff. We do have some entertainment, music entertainment in Hector King Hunter Park, bounce houses in Hector King Hunter Park. Pool will be open from 1 to 9, free swim. And of course, the spray park, as you know, opened yesterday, and it will be open 9 to 9 on Canada Day as well. And I'm wondering if I missed anything. There's some other ancillary things with, of course, the golf course does their annual Canada Day tournament. Museum will be open for viewers. We will have the community center open for a cooling station. So people want to get out of the sun, get out of the heat and go in and visit. We will have the community center set up to accommodate that. And I'm just looking at Gwen if I missed anything.
Thank you, Kim. That's a pretty good overview. Our entertainment is Chris LeBlanc, fairly good all-rounded music from 1 till 4. And we've set up a little bit of we're trying to set up a little bit of a mist station. We're going to put a sprinkler in Hector King Hunter Park so people can maybe use that as a misting area. And the staff are pretty geared up to move forward. In the community center and our cooling center, Tim Hortons donated 4 coffee, about 80 cups of coffee that we can just have available. There'll be cold water in there, and they've donated cookies as well. And we've purchased a few cookies. So we're set up to go Canada Day as per normal. Flag raising, I'll send Kyle the notes. I have them ready to go. You'll get an email probably about 5 minutes after we close the meeting, Kyle, with who's going to be in attendance. So pretty happy. The staff seem to be fairly organized and everybody has their duties. So I know it's going to be hot, but I do hope members of council can come out to cruise around. It's going to be nice to get back to that sense of normalcy again. Be a fun day.
The other thing, Deputy Mayor Olson, that I just wanted to point out whether you had an opportunity or not last Sunday to attend our Music in the Park. So very successful, lots of very positive comments from our residents. Unfortunately, it was a hot day, but I think our Gwen and her group have done a very good job getting some very good artists at very, very reasonable prices because they're not able to be out, and this is kind of the kickoff. So every Sunday now through July and August, 4 to 5:30, the rain or shine, it's on. If it's raining, we will be able to move into the community center if it's nice, we'll obviously stay outside, but just encourage anyone to promote it and attend it. And we look forward to that being an annual thing. And we actually had one of our local businesses were in attendance at the last one last Sunday, and spoke with Gwen after the event and made a significant donation. They just felt it was great and wanted to make sure it continued, and it was great to see. And I know we had some local talent there on Sunday, and I know they were excited to be able to be out and perform. And I'm really looking forward to it. So in addition to Canada Day entertainment, keep in mind every Sunday at 4:00, and hopefully you can catch a few of them. I'm not sure if anybody wants to comment on it. I unfortunately was not able to attend on Sunday. I was visiting my parents, but I heard very good things.
Councillor Bowden.
Yes, I attended, and it was a wonderful day, and very, very good job in getting that organized. And I think it'll just grow. People were sitting under groups of trees, and some kind of sitting in the bowl right in the sun is what I'm trying to say. And it was very well received. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to give council an indication, Chris LeBlanc, who's going to be performing tomorrow, I did reach out to him. I had 2 empty dates that I hadn't filled yet, the 8th of August and the 22nd. Yesterday, Shannon Smith, who did the Shania Twain, she's coming on the 22nd of August, she confirmed. And I reached out to Chris and asked him if he'd consider returning to Hanna, and he's confirmed with me already that he'd come back on the 8th of August. So we have a full confirmed lineup of very good quality, high quality musicians. So pretty happy about that. Thank you, Kim, for reminding everyone of that event. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Okay, all we got left is roundtable. So we'll go around. Again, Councillor Stickle, you are top corner.
Nothing to report. I'd just like to say a big thank you to the committee at the spray park. My goodness, the kids yesterday seemed to enjoy themselves. I don't know if everybody knew it was open, but looking at the youngsters, I'm sure they appreciate what the committee has done putting this spray park together. Hats off. Other than that, nothing.
Cool, thanks. Councillor Bowden. Oh, you're muted.
Duh. I have nothing to offer. Just the Hanna Roundhouse will be open Canada Day as well from 1 till 5, and we're borrowing some railroad equipment from the museum to support the museum out there. And yeah, so that'll be our first opening.
So just a comment, Councillor Bowden, sorry we missed you. We weren't aware that you were going to be, or we would have thrown you in with our advertising. So in the future, if we're doing Canada Day or something, we want to promote events that are happening in town, whether they're town related or not. So we'd certainly put anything in future times to promote that you would be open and from what times.
This was a last minute thing.
Okay.
So it depended on certain things getting done and that sort of thing. So I greatly appreciate that.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you.
Just further, thank you very much, Kim. Sandra, if you'd like to send me a little brief email, then I can include it when we announce on the stage for the entertainment, and just remind people of the activities in the area for the day, because I do usually mention the museum's open. So if you'd like to send me a little blurb that I can do that, that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you. And we might try to get our turntable moving. We were able to have some work done on it, and it moved for the first time since the 1970s. And so, yeah, we might see if we have some muscle power or something to move it for giggles and that sort of thing. So thank you very much, Director Snell. I will do that.
On that note, we can change the poster that is online. I know a lot of people have already saved that poster to their devices, but we can make additions to it and add an updated feature to it. But larger than that is as things, are opening and people are coordinating their community events again, we want them to get into the habit of letting us know. I want to do less chasing and sourcing, and I want people to get their information into us. So if they go to hanna.ca/events, they can submit it themselves and go back and make changes to it. All we have to do is approve it and it goes on the event calendar, but we'll look after the promotional end of things to help promote community events, but help spread the word on that, please, councillors.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have had lots of people stopping in nonstop anyways, and but I did contact Gary Moore about renting a sign, and I'm not sure, like I said, everything is last minute, so it was yesterday, so I'm not sure if he has anything available yet. So but thank you very much, Director Armstrong, as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Councillor Bowden. I forgot to ask for Councillor Stickle. Any questions for Councillor Stickle or Councillor Bowden? No, we're good. All right, Councillor Jensen.
Don't have a lot aside from we received some bad news from the library. Our library director is moving on to bigger, brighter things that are better for her. So if you are aware of anybody who might be interested in a library director position in the community, that yeah, certainly encourage them to send their applications our way to my email. The postings have been distributed. As far as I know, everything went up last night, so we should start to see them around the community and whatnot soon. That's all I've got.
Well, thank you. That's too bad. Carly was quite good there. I think everybody liked her there. Any questions for Councillor Jensen? No? All right. Myself, the spray park was amazing. It was kind of a quiet, soft opening, just as Gwed is well aware, just to make sure everything starts smoothly. And it was a lot of work for the park staff. They did a ton of stuff. And not opportune weather to be carrying sidewalk blocks and tables and raking and shoveling and doing all that. So they put in a ton of work. Every department was out there. There was kids on there till 9 o'clock when the water shut off. I've already got 3 texts this morning of people already there. That's only 9:48. So it's going to be awesome. That whole block, I'm just so thrilled to see that tomorrow, to see everybody out, the bounce houses and all kinds of activity again. And I don't think there'll be much apprehension for people to go out and mingle in these crowds. And people are pretty done with it. The weather's changed a couple things for the golf course. It's a little bit quieter for people going out there in kind of peak hours. The only real cancellation has been junior golf. It's hard enough with little kids out there, let alone when it's going to be 38 above, whatever it's going to be. So we just postponed that an extra week, which pushes it longer into the summer. So hopefully people are still around. It's only 2 weeks left of it, but hopefully we can finish that up. Any questions for me?
Just a question, Deputy Mayor Olson. With the mayor gone, do you have some time after 11 today to come in and sign checks?
Yes, I can squeeze it in, I'm sure.
Okay, anytime. Noni said they would be ready. So anytime after 11, Deputy Mayor Olson, if you could slip down to the office, they'll be ready.
Sure, that works. Councillor Bowden.
I know I did not support the spray park, but I do want to congratulate you and your group and all those who did support it. And I wish you all the best. Well,
thank you. I do have to put in a plug for the last. I mean, people have been asking me a lot of stuff, and I send them to either Gwen or Jeff Rabb. They both put in countless hours. So it's exciting to finally see it. I'm talking to Ken Hansen and Nadine Coleman when they first started this. I think my daughter might have been 5, 6 years old, maybe a little younger. She turned 13 about a couple of months ago. So it was a long grind process. There was awesome support for it. So it was, yeah, just happy to see a wet spray park now.
So Deputy Mayor Olson, can you, would you be interested or willing to share the story you shared yesterday of your encounter with a resident or a non-local who was impressed?
Yeah, absolutely. I was working, getting some stuff for Lori at the VIC, and there was a gentleman that came in there, and he had his motorhome and 2 young kids and his wife, and talked to them about Fox Lake Park. And the girls there are amazing, Morgan and, oh man, I forget her name. It's that one, Sydney. I can't remember. Whatever the staff were out there, and they got the map out and they were showing him. He was trying to find Fox Lake Park, and again, it reminded me the importance of signage because, of course, I know where Fox Lake Park is. He said he tried following the signs, couldn't quite get there. So they showed him that. He asked about the pool. He was impressed with the public swimming hours. They had come down from Calgary, and the whole reason they came to Hanna is they were down in Drum. They had a campsite like they do every year, decided to do a day trip to Hanna. They ended up abandoning their campsite in Drum to stay in Hanna for the next 2 days due to the pool, the spray park, Fox Lake Park, all the activities that are happening for Canada Day. He also heard about the fireworks, that they were amazing. He was excited to see them, and the fact that they were going off at Fox Lake, he was thrilled to be there. So he, yeah, again, a guy from Calgary brought his family to Drum, ended up Hanna outshone what he was looking for with everything we have here. So it was a very cool story. Yeah, hats off to everybody that's got everything going there and all the staff that got it moving. So I know myself, I took my camper out to Fox Lake this morning at 10 to 7 so that I could be back for this. And now it's just a matter of filling some coolers and we'll be out there for a few days. Hey, so if that's all we got, nothing else to add, Kim?
Correct.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we will call it adjourned at 9:53. Thanks.
See you tomorrow.